T&D is that the purpose of these developments is that they would elevate the community itself, where everyone in the community would be proud of the place that they're living in. Everyone in the community would be encouraged by the things that they see around them, and ideally inspired by those things, and would want to preserve them longer, pick up their trash, litter less, be a part of their community more, those sort of things. And so we cheapen that, and we lose that connection, I guess, with the things that we build when we cheapen the things that we build by using some of these green material, green, air quotes, material that are maybe good for the time being, but have a massive carbon footprint, or end up we have to make 17 of them in order to replace one piece of wood or one piece of stone.
Well, whenever we had Dan Parrish on, he briefly mentioned like one of the things he's envisioned is creating like a community that's a bunch of traditional architectural details, but built in new houses.
Yeah.
And I think when I think of traditional neighborhood development, that's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. I think the pushback, and I did see some of the comments on that, is that, well, that's a dream because nobody can afford it. Mm-hmm. You're more in the business side of it than me.
I was at a consulting job in outside of Virginia, or outside of DC in Fredericksburg. There's these guys, Dewani, who wrote this book, has an architecture firm called DPZ, and it's Dewani Platter Zyberberg, and it's him and his wife, and they are have this firm. One of the developments they did was a place called Lily Smith, and the guy I was meeting with actually had ownership of the Lily Smith. This is right before the recession, and they hired DPZ. DPZ had done this new traditional development that was going to be low cost, and a developer came in from California and said, we're the long haul. We're just like you. We're gonna, we'd like to buy the thing, partner up with you. Let's go do this. And so they had, 8-10 builders that they were going to, custom local builders that were going to build all the houses there. And that's typically how they do that. And they were, the big boys, D.R. Hortons and Pulte's and all those big production builders weren't invited to that thing because they would cheap it out. And they take over the development in like 2007. And of course, the recession happens in 2008. They bail on all their high ideals about how they're going to do this for, such a, the quality and everything fell out, and they let go of the local builders. They brought in the D.R. Hortons and Pulte's because they could make more money or be more cost effective. And you can drive through that neighborhood and see the first, 60 houses, 80 houses that were built, and then drive through the second part where the last 600 houses were built, and it is stark. Okay, the difference between
it's noticeable.
And it's they cheaped out. I bring that up because there is a challenge with building quality, and there is a money aspect to it. There is a cost aspect to it that I guess I'm listening to some of the guys out there might be listening to this going, and there is truth to the point that it does cost money to do something better.
Hold on, explain that. You're saying there are guys out there who are saying, but it's going to cost, like yes. Richard was saying, and you're right. You're like, that's right.
Yes, I'm saying there's truth to that. When Dan was saying that, right, it takes very careful planning to make sure that original design is executed properly, okay? And it comes down to little details of how you're doing the shutters, how you're doing the overhang, how you're doing the door trim, window trim, siding. What do those pieces look like? It just takes careful planning, right? It is
a great point here.
Well, it's hard. I guess it's hard because it's like to do quality does cost more, okay? It does.
Because you're competing with that vinyl window.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people are like, well, that's their comparison. I could buy, mean, why are you so much? Look, this is that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't see the difference, So I feel like someone who would be going to a traditional
neighborhood development
would almost be expecting to pay more because they're like, I care and I appreciate
Well, and
finer craftsmanship.
At the end of the day, the quality of the product's more, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a developer, if you're trying to create a neighborhood and you're having to rely on tactics like spider webbing through a neighborhood in order that people don't see that it's type number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then type 1, 2, 3, 4 around the next corner, like type 1 being type 1 of the house, type 2 being, the
The
second
developer is like the guy
yeah.
in the Truman Show trying to hide it.
Right,
from-
exactly. If you're a developer who's trying to cheap out and doesn't want the people living in the development to see what you're hiding, then yeah, you're going to need to do things like that to cheap out. But if you're a developer who cares about the development, who wants it to be something that is special, that is unique, you're going to need to hire out stuff that.
But here's, I guess I'm thinking through this comment. The thing that made that one development, noticeably different was the quality of materials. Okay, that they did take a wood and vinyl clad or wood and metal clad window in the expensive side to straight vinyl and PVC and cheap and aluminum in the second side. There was like 5 ways they lowered the cost, right? They lowered the quality of the siding, they lowered the quality of the windows, they lowered the quality of the doors, and they cheaped out the quality of the trim inside. And so, is that worth it?
But your whole thesis is no, it's not worth it because in 5 years, they're going to be replacing the windows, the siding, the vinyl.
It's partly a longevity. It's partly a beauty thing, right? I mean, it's partly...
Well, it's a twofold problem then.